Hello, welcome. This is Campaign Terrain. I'm your host, That Guy Cross. Welcome to the basement. Tonight I'm going to begin building a lighthouse. It is for a fantasy world, so I want it to look like a lighthouse, tall tower, flames on top, but I want it to, in fantasy era, so no spinning lights or anything. But I don't want it to look earthly, so I don't want to build like a big brick octagon or hexagon. I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to do it. I think I want the bottom to be batten board, which is the boards running upright with slats between them to protect from the rain. But I want the top, I want it to there be a wider base that comes up, and then from there up, that tower, I want there to be, I want it to look like clapboard. Clapboard is those boards that are cut with a little angle so that they fit on top of each other so that they keep the rain out of the little grooves. I have no idea if I'm going to make it so it's sort of an open frame or if I'm going to enclose it, because if it's a wooden structure and high winds on the shore, it may get too much wind hitting it. Hello, Mrs. Lynn. Since you were the one that suggested this, I'm going to ask you. I am building the lighthouse, basically woodenly, out of wood. But I don't know if I want to do the whole thing with like a frame on the inside and then just clad the outside. I mean, with a frame on the inside and then leave it open so like wind could blow through it. Or if I want to make it solid. It's not going to be a big brick rock one. It's going to be a wooden one. So, yeah. Do you think it will look better like a scaffold? Or do you think it'll look better enclosed? Meanwhile, while Mrs. Lynn's thinking about that, and anybody else that comes in, I'm going to do a couple of touching the bases here, covering some things from a thing that happened in Carl Make Stuff's live stream today. Somebody mentioned that they would like to see me build a scarecrow, which I haven't finished yet. I have started it. So I don't know where I put it. There's a picture of it on the Discord. So go check the Discord. The link's down below. So I am going to be basically clothing that, giving it some wear and tear so it looks like the fabric's been on a while. Maybe give it some kind of fake head and a little hat or something. I also plan to make some wheelbarrows and handcarts. But that's not tonight. I will be getting to scarecrow, wheelbarrow, handcarts, probably 3 streams, or I may do those in an actual video. If I do, it would still be 3 of them. I would do them separately. Keep the video shorter that way. This week and at least next week, I'm going to be working on this lighthouse. And after that, between the lighthouse and the going back to some farmy stuff, I had something else I was going to work on. I don't remember. I may be getting to the scarecrow sooner than I expected. All right, sorry about that. Now, Carl's live stream today was the farm challenge. So all that stuff you saw me build for like 6 weeks for the farm, that was on that stream today. So go check out that live stream. You can hear me babble for a bit about it. I think it went over really well. I was certainly proud of my stuff, and everybody else's stuff was amazing as well. They were like, I was expecting, the last time I looked, there were only 3 of us that had put in offerings. And when I went back this time, not only were there like 5 or 6 other people that had put in offerings, 2 of them put in several offerings. So yeah, it was really cool. Got to see all sorts of cool stuff, pigsties and barns, and yeah, it was very, very cool. During that, one of my patrons, Dungeon Matron, mentioned something about bread tabs, and I don't know if somebody was needing them. So I'm going to switch to this other camera and show you the bread tabs I've got, and then I will get into the building. Okay, so Mrs. Lynn is saying open would be better for actual play. Yes, but I can always make the pieces come off and make it functional. Oh, that was the other thing. The other thing was somebody wanted me to do another house or show on the houses I've got exactly how I make the different stories nestle into each other so that they can stack, but I can open them up and have them as either smaller houses or storage containers. So that was the other thing. So lighthouse, houses fitting together with that notch. Scarecrow, wheelbarrow, pushcart or handcart. That's like my next 6 weeks. So we got a plan. And, you know, planning is half the battle or whatever. No, knowing is half the battle. Well, now we know. What was I going to say? So open would be better for play. But the chances of somebody being in there in a role-playing game and needing to put their figures in there is very slim. But in a war game, it's almost inevitable. Somebody's going to want to climb it for better vantage or that sort of thing. So yes, I can open it and make it, build it like a scaffold. Got its own set of problems, but so does the other one. So I will do that. Open is good. We can work with open. And yeah, what was I doing? Oh, bread taps. So I got to switch to this other camera. As you know, when I switch to that, it messes, and I turn on the light, it messes with this camera. So first I'm going to show the top here because that's got all my Patreon patrons, and your name could be here. Digital Calibrator, Patrick Walther, Dungeon Matron, Solo Nick, Mia Geek. Huge thank you to all of them. They help. They buy me hot glue. There you go. That's this channel runs off of them. In addition, some of them have sent me things. Some of them have come over and helped me with audio and video. So I can't even tell you how much it makes me feel good that y'all choose to patronize me. So let me switch cameras, and then I will turn the light on. Oh, that's actually pointed at the right spot. Usually I end up bumping that. Now, the sharp-eyed among you, ooh, that was bright. The sharp-eyed among you will notice Proxon is still sitting up here. That is because I have not, in any way, shape, or form, done squat down here this week. I have been super busy with writing the game and some other things. So I've been on my computer upstairs. I still have all those slabs I cut last week. It's way more than I thought. This should make a dent in the amount of tiles I need. Last week I couldn't remember the measurements. These are 10 millimeters thick. I'm going to be making itty bitty tiny bricks at 10 millimeters by 5 by 5. That means they'll be about that big square and about that long. Well, about exactly that long. And I will also be making some 10 by 10 by 5 squares as tiles. And I will also be making some 5 by 5, 5 by 10, 10 by 15, 5 by 15, 15 by 15, and 10 by 10. A bunch of random tiles so that I can make patterns on the floors. But that, again, I will do that off camera, probably not even this week. This machine may be sitting here a while. All right, so bread tabs. These are bread tabs. I have some that have little tails on them. I have some of these are vegetables. So I've got Norcota, Chieftain Red, and Russet Burbank. I guess those are all potatoes. And I've got a bunch of these. I do not have as many as I thought, Lisa. So when you're watching this later, because I don't think you're here yet, when you're watching this later, I don't have as many as I thought, but they are super easy to collect. If I was going to get a bunch quickly, like super quick, what I would do is go to one of the sandwich shops and say, hey, you know those tabs you take off your bread every morning when you're starting for the day? Can I get a bunch of those? I'll just put them in a tub. Here's the tub. I'll bring you a tub. Toss them in there and I'll come back. I am sure that they would let you, especially if you catch the artistic person that's on staff that also wants to do art projects. They may keep some for themselves, but there you go. So I don't have as many as I thought I would. I just randomly collect them. Like I said, my housemate is a professional chef. Actually, both my housemates are professional chefs in different kinds. So I end up with a lot of those from a lot of different products. All right, so I always forget. So please like, share, subscribe, and it's never on here. I always forget to put it on here, but please also comment. The commenting after the fact, which you'll have to wait till the end and reset. And the commenting apparently really helps drive the algorithm a lot. And that gets my channel out there so that more people can come here and get inspired, maybe learn some things, just hang out and have fun. So please like, share, subscribe, and comment. And what was it? Oh, yeah, I have no idea how I'm going to do that exactly. I think I'm going to do a crazy thing and try to use up some of these other foam scraps I've got laying around. I can find some decent sized ones and build the lumber out of foam. So let's take a look. That's going to be boring. Let me no, well, I got to switch the camera off again if I do that. I was going to switch the other camera and have you see me while I'm digging through my junk over here. But long story short, I'm going to be taking things like random scraps of, those are thick enough I can use those. Just random scraps of this to make fake lumber out of in no particular size. I am going to try to get the thing to look symmetrical and like it was actually intended to be there. So it's not like orky or goblin-y or anything, but it is, medieval in a not particularly high-tech world. So, if I'm already building it out of wood, might be able to use those as panels and keep those. This one's just too big to keep on the table and have in my way. Let's grab a couple of those. This one has a special pattern on it, so I'm keeping that one off to the side here. Oh, that I can use. Use the white one. Oh, it tapers and it's got net. Let me put that one up. All right, babbling to myself. I do this when I craft. This is the real experience. I am not sugarcoating this for y'all or nothing. All righty. I see you in there, Jess. I see that you have shown up, but I have not read enough to answer what you were saying yet. Give me just a moment and I'll get out to you. For anybody who's paying attention, Jess is Sim Peasant. Sim Peasant has their own YouTube channel, plays a lot of really chill, laid-back video games. So might want to give that a go. And it doesn't commit your whole day because she keeps all her videos to about 15 minutes. No, not short on them. It's friggin' hot. I'm sweating like crazy, and the wooden ones make me sweat. These all are breathable. Well, not this one, but the others are all breathable. So this is normally my necklace, but I wanted something on my left wrist for the night. Well, actually 5 hours ago, and put it on here. So yeah. One of my bead bracelets is upstairs. The other two are off here to the side. Okay, so I already know that basically I want this to have a wider tapered base, a flat platform, and then a narrow tapered base of, I think, I'm going to make basically 3 stories. So I'm going to have the wider taper, the narrower taper, and then an almost straight up version on the top. And then at the top, there's going to be a brazier on top where I'm going to put like a LED votive candle on top and make some flames into it. Not tonight. That's for next week. And yeah, that way I can have, that way I only have to make ladders that are like this tall, not this tall, because that has to do with movement in games, because the longer the ladder, the longer it takes them to go up. And there's not really a way to keep a mini on a ladder stably, but I may also build stairs inside it, almost like a park ranger's watchtower. So now I got to figure out all the Pythagorean stuff, which I am not doing math on this. I'm going to do this all by eyeball and figure out basically how long I need those angled planks to be to build that bottom platform. I could cheap out on this and build it more like a ziggurat, where there's like a larger platform and then a smaller platform and then a smallest platform. But I really want it to be slightly tapered. I'm not sure why, but I've just got that in my head. So I think what I will start with doing is I'm going to keep the planks pretty chunky, because this thing's supposed to support a massive brazier on top that's big enough to be seen from out on the ocean and or the huge lake, whatever it fits your gaming session. So I'm going to use some pretty big chunks. That doesn't look all that big, but when you compare it to a mini, that's chunky. So that'd be like a 4x10, something like that, big thing. So I'm going to take a bunch of these and I'm going to start texturing those. Now, That involves a lot of dust. I would like to have my mask on, but I'm not because I want to talk to y'all. So do what I say, not what I do. If you want to get the best texture on this, these have a factory surface that is super shiny and glossy. That's harder to texture. Stuff also has a grain, so one direction or the other is easier to do that with. With the way I'm doing it, the grain doesn't really matter because you can sort of bend the foam to your will. I get these cheapy brushes that come like $1 for the 3-pack or sort of thing, $1.25 for the 3-pack, and they have. I'm trying to show you the way they come in the package. I've got a brass one, a steel one, and a plastic one. The plastic one's useless. It won't leave a mark in this. It can, but it's useless. I can leave the steel if I really want to make the wood look marred and messed up, or I can use the brass if I want it a little less so. I think I'm going to go with the brass one this time just because. And because I'm always looking for tools, let's get 2 brass brushes out. And that way, when I'm looking around, I'm like, oh, there's one. Okay. Now, there is a grain to this stuff. But for lumber that's already supposed to be sitting out in the weather, I'm not worried about whether I get little snags and pullouts on these things. So I'm literally just going to start in with this. And all you do is take this and press firmly, but not hard, and just drag it down the foam. And I find that doing one long drag down it doesn't get as good because, as you can see already, that put one long gouge in there. Oh, you really can't. There you go. And I don't really want that. So instead, go like this, and you can end up with a pretty reasonable wood grain after. Now, it looks like hell like this, but once it's all painted up and all that, it's going to look good. Now, if this little noise is bothering y'all, I don't know what to tell you. Y'all may have to just not watch this video. I apologize. It's not supposed to be ASMR, and I am talking over it, but I just realized how much noise this is going to make all night long. All right, let's see. It could be enclosed just by sticking panels on it, but I don't want to build both kinds because I only need one. I've only got one city built at any one time. This is going to go with, but not on my city blocks. It's going to go with the same town, which means I actually have to build a promontory or cliff or whatever over the ocean for later. But that's not today's project. So this doesn't need to look like the city because it's not going to be in the city. Now, on Carl Makes Stuff's channel, which I already mentioned the challenge that closed out today, that one was farm. There is one coming up called urban, and it can be from any era or genre. So I think I'm going to cheat, put some of my city blocks in that, and then just go with that. So this will not be in that because you wouldn't build a lighthouse in town typically. Okay, now see how much wow, speaking Texan tonight. See how much dust has already gathered in there, and that's that one board. So it gets messy, and I'm gonna have all these little things, and I'm gonna have to sweep all this up afterwards. But that's the crafting. That's how it works. Okay, this one's gonna be too thin for anything, so I'm just gonna go ahead and snap that off about as thick as or thin as I'm gonna need it. And that piece can go in my rubble. Oops. Nope, we're gonna make that the rubble pile for tonight, and just keep going. Now, as you can see, this got torn, probably bent. Something sat on it, so you just got to work around those when you're doing this. But for texturing it, it almost shouldn't matter as long as you're dragging the brush. If you try to push the brush or even upright, it may catch in that and rip it. And you could be Rip It Ralph. I'm gonna rip it. All right, so sim approved. Yeah, Lighthouse good. Bracelets. Videos come back tomorrow. Enjoy my 2-week break. Excellent. I'm glad you had your time off there. Yeah, I hope you're not going to drive yourself to one a day like you were. On the other hand, I will watch one a day if you do. Again, that Sim Peasants channel, really laid back videos. Had 2 people log in and then log out. Oh well. For those of y'all who have missed the drama, the minimal, I have had on one of my older videos here on this channel, I have had a person that I'm pretty sure was trolling, and I kind of shut them down and went, I think you're joking, but if not, it's in poor taste, and they haven't answered me. So I think I've had my first troll. And on the Discord, I've had somebody, a variation of a name, has logged into my Discord and then immediately no longer been on the Discord when I've gone to look at their information, like 6 or 7 times with different names that all have the same part in them. So I've gotten my first troll, and I guess maybe my first spammer. But from what I understand, they haven't been spamming anybody on that is on my Discord, and they have not spammed me. Okay, now this is starting to catch in this because I'm doing on the edge, where on this surface it wasn't. Again, I'm just going to work around that. So I know that that's going to scratch. So I'm just going to kind of ignore that, move past it to where there's no little hole, and keep going. So they say that, you know, you're never really famous until you get detractors. And so I guess since I've got my first troll and my first spammer, that maybe I've made it. I'm there. I've arrived. To get all Sally Fields with it. They like me. They really like me. All right, that's one more down. Only 90 to go. Yeah. Did I lag in real life? Did I? What did I do? I forget to say. Did I forget where I was going with something? That happens. Okay. Now, I can put a texture on the end of each of these boards, but until I know where I'm cutting them and where I'm using them, there's not really a point. So at this point, I am just doing the long grain, which is funny because I had long grain rice for dinner. That's neither here nor there. Not the same. Did not involve a wire brush. So yeah, this foam dust is why I joke that if I ever die, it's probably from the green lung or the teal lung. This dust is actually not doing too bad. It's not really kicking up today. It's I can see it all over the desk, but it's not actually floating around like it does sometimes. Oddly, sometimes just making a nice, clean, smooth cut with a sharp hobby knife still raises a whole cloud of dust. I think sometimes there's just softer, puffier spots in the within the foam, like just inconsistencies. But today it's being fairly well behaved. And so far, knock wood, it is not building up too much static on me. I hate it when the stuff sticks to me. I don't care if the little dust sticks to me, but when the pieces stick to me and get in my way of grabbing like the next item or whatever, it drives me bonkers. Okay. Alrighty. Yeah, it has been over 100 degrees in freedom units the last few days here, or close to. I think it hit 105 the other day. That may have been the feels like or whatever. I hardly ever go outside. But it's been warm all day today. And then I came down to the basement and I was having some technical issues and dealing with stuff and moved around a whole bunch, had a bunch more lights on before this. And yeah, it was, I was warm right at the time the video started, but I'm getting much better now. Sitting down and being a little less active. I mean, I'm being plenty active, but I'm being less active. All right. If I keep doing all of these all night long, I will not get any actual crafting done. So what I am going to do is about 5 more of these. Yes, 5 more. I've done 6 so far. And sit here and shoot the bull with y'all for a minute. And then once I've got basically what I consider enough, I will I'll use this long one. I think that'll work. And then I can get into actual crafting. I've got a design in my head. I had a design for both of them in my head, but I haven't drawn anything out this time. I have 400 pages, give or take, 380 pages, give or take, of projects ready to go. Like I could just open a book and find that and build that project. So people talk about like crafter's block. Yeah, I do not get crafter's block. My problem is, which do I want to work on next? And do I have time to do 380 projects? And no, I do not. I will not get to all of them, and I have come to terms with that. But Lighthouse was not in there. And then Mrs. Lynn said, why don't you build a lighthouse? I'm like, well, that's a hell of an idea. I've already got a coastal town. Why not? So that is a champion killer winner idea. Winner, winner, chicken of the sea dinner. Now, this piece, I have no idea how I managed to get a piece this long that has no factory edge on it. This got cut out of a board somehow. I have no idea. And I keep missing one of these sides. No, I guess I just didn't do it as deeply. Okay, so you're good to go. Okay. More of these. Another one of those. Another one of those. We'll call that quits for that. And we'll stick y'all there. Okay. As I ask every time, anybody crafting tonight, or y'all just hanging out? I like hanging out. I'll sit here and chat with y'all. That's fine. If y'all are crafting, that's cool. If y'all are doing something else creative that's not gaming crafting, get it. No, I'm kidding. Don't get out. I would love to hear about that as well. The only other crafting stuff I really watched lately, other than miniature stuff, is handmade bead joint dolls. The one that I really like watching, they do fabric heads. They don't do the ceramic heads or the printed heads or anything like that. They make theirs out of the fabric as well. So they sew basically the whole doll. I think that's kind of cool. I have a really cool doll I got for, compared to the amount of hours and time and love that had to have gone into that doll, I couldn't leave her on the shelf. She was $3. And at first I was like, well, she looks a little weird, but I knew that somebody had put at least 100 hours into that doll, and was just so sad that she was in a craft and that she was in a thrift store where either somebody threw her away or somebody that had her had, passed on and somebody was selling their stuff. And I'm like, well, we are going to give you a home. And so every time I look at her, I'm like, I like her more. At first I was like, well, she's a little strange looking. And now I'm like, yep, wouldn't trade her for the world. But I'm one of those big, softy, romantic, sympathetic type people. And by romantic, I mean, like the romance authors. And now for all my horror friends, maybe don't leave strange looking dolls at the thrift store. Maybe take them home so they don't haunt you. Give them a nice home so they feel loved and don't, get all Chucky on you. I have no idea what the plot of Chucky is, but I figure that angry dolls, not a good way to go. I have been well aware of the angry dolls not good concept since Poltergeist, and so yeah. I'm not saying that you got to take home, every baby poops a lot or whatever that you find in the thrift store toy section, but unique individual art stuff, and I love it. Plus, stuff like that, you're never going to have it. Nobody else is ever going to have the same one as you. And if you eventually aspire to weird wizard or witch in the wilderness, and want to have, crows and squirrels as friends, you got to start building your weird tchotchkes for the shelves somewhere. I mean, sure, we've all got the body parts, but, maybe some things that are not quite so gruesome. I presume your body parts are plastic, like, Halloween decor, but I don't judge. Okay, so, as I said, that builds up a lot of dust in here. I haven't figured out a good way to clean this except using a different wire brush to get them out, but then you just have the stuff in the other wire brush. So usually I just go like this and hope. Okay, so that is a bunch of things. Now, I know that I want this to be about 3 inches tall, because that's just generally what I build my stories to, because this guy from the bottom of his base to the top of his spindle is almost exactly 2 inches. And basically I want to know that if I stuck this inside the building and put the lid or the roof or the top back on, they'll fit. So he's about 2 inches. And so anything up to about 3 inches. Now, Pythagorean theorem, blah, 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 carry this thing, hypotenuse. I'm not doing all that. I am going to take 3 inches here, an angle I think I can live with, and put the thing on and measure it to that distance. So that is what I'm doing. Now, this is not the same size all the way down, but I'm going to be the only one who ever knows that. Shh, don't tell anybody. And yeah, so I think that what I am going to do is basically put this at one corner and go diagonal 3 inches-ish. And I'm always going to leave extra on these just to make sure. And then I'm just going to lop that off with a small knife. For this, I'm using a snap blade. This one's by Olfa, not sponsored or anything. They just build a pretty decent knife. This one's metal. Let's just say I'm not gentle on tools, so this has lasted an awful long time, even in my capable of destruction hands. So get yourself a good quality one, or just be expecting to buy Dollar Tree ones over and over and over again. Nothing against the Dollar Tree plastic ones. I have used dozens of them, but the problem is I've used dozens of them. All right, now, if you really wanted to get all picky and stuff, you could take this one, flip it over, spin it this way, match the angle, I'm not doing all that. I'm not doing all that. I am eyeballing all these and just getting close, and I'm basically following this line across. That way I know that at least one end of this, when it's standing up, it should be relatively level with the ground. Relatively. Okay, so now all of these I'm cutting a little bit beyond 3 inches, and I'll figure that out on the fly as I go, because I may not have wanted to do that. I might have wanted to do it correctly, but whatever. Now, the problem with building things at an angle, but building square things, is that your corners, you either have to put them off at 45 degrees or build two things out at 90 degrees. I think I am going to go for that option, just stylistically. No particular reason, at least on the ground floor. So that is what we are doing right here. I am just cutting a bunch of these till I basically run out. And I will use them. I will need at least 8 for the base of that thing. And that's if I don't put any vertical members in between these. And which I may or may not do. Again, stairs, ladders, got to make room for that. Got to make it rational. Like, you don't want to build that at, I think I made a bunch of these at the wrong angle. Whatever. All works out in the end. And again, rubble pile. I use these for all sorts of stuff after the fact. What was I saying? Right. You have to have it wide enough where a figure would fit through, and you got to look at it from realistically. Even though it's miniature and you can build it basically how you want, rule of cool and all that, you still have to think about the fact that if you put a cross member at this level, that lighthouse keeper is not going to want to duck under that thing every day for, you know, his career. So you got to take these things into account. So since I'm tapering it out, I can put cross members across it if I build a ladder or a stairwell on the outside that leans at that same angle or further so that they can use that to get over. All well and good. This doesn't have to be perfect, and it doesn't have to match anything earthly. Again, we are building this for a fantasy world. Okay, so for this, it's too narrow. I am basically trying to match essentially the profile of these planks here. Now, when I cut these, low, slow passes. I know that I say that every time. It's almost a catchphrase at this point, but low, slow passes. You want to keep the blade vertical to the foam, but you want the cutting side to be at as low at an angle as you can. And I sometimes pull the blade all the way out and cut really low, just because the low pulling passes make the smoothest cuts. Now, less important on this since I'm about to drag a wire brush across this anyway, but it is what it is. So this one's kind of getting messed up, so I'm going to find where my pencil wandered. There it is. And I'm going to kind of mark the middle there, just sort of eyeballing that and eyeballing that, because I noticed that this one's a little narrower on one end than the other. So like I said, none of this has to be perfect, and it's not going to be visible to the naked eye when you finally get it on the table. So I just want to get it close enough. Okay, I now have 4 new pieces on this that need to be wire brushed. So I know that I want to take my semi-finished pieces and put them over here, unfinished pieces here, and cut a bunch more planks. Now, why am I cutting so many planks? I am not only building the frame out of that, but the floors, the stairs, all of it are going to be built in some way, shape, or form out of the same foam. Once it's all hit with a coating that makes it a little more tough, and then you 4 or 5 more layers of paint to get it to stylized and all of that, it's going to be more rigid and more firm. Plus, if you build something like this, it can be wiggly right at that corner, but the moment you put an angled piece across it, it gets perfectly rigid. So we're doing all of that. This is too short. I need a longer straight edge. Or I could cut my foam, but I think I'll go with longer straight edge, since I've already thought about it and I have one to hand. So this is about 3 boards wide, so I'm gonna go ahead and mark this one so I don't get all wonky like I did on that last one. All right, let's see what y'all are talking about in the chat. Chucky series, Chucky's his second favorite. Critters is much more my speed. I have a DVD of Critters 1, 2, 3, and 4. I've only ever seen the first 2. It's sitting right there. It's literally on the top of my DVD rack, and I still never think to watch it. So since we share a lot of media, at some point, Mrs. Lynn can watch my version of Critters if you want to, or you've probably already seen them. But I like Critters, and if nothing else, I like the silly humor, like the rugged spaceman guy chooses the allegedly dorky looking dude and then goes on to be, it's good stuff. Good stuff. Critters is good stuff. Those of you who have no idea what I'm talking about, Critters is a space alien movie series from the 80s and early 90s. And it is both actually good and completely tongue-in-cheek. They know they did not intend it to be taken seriously, even in the first one, I don't think, and certainly not in the later ones, and they are all the better for it. So, Critters is cool. I am very happy to know we have that in common. All right, and why not? Let's do this one. I can get close to the same amount, but I'm going to get a little weird on that last cut. So what I'm going to do is turn that last cut into my first cut by turning this around. And then I will shave off that weird side. Not weird, it's just inconveniently shaped. And I will start there. I know. I just lapsed into quietude again. Sorry about that. I do that. I start crafting and I get my mind on the thing and stop speaking. Now, if you go talk to my family and tell them that sometimes I stop speaking, they will not believe you. But sometimes I stop speaking. Okay, this one I will use for something. This board will probably be cut off and used for something in this exact build, but for right now, it's going in the rubble pile just in case I don't get back to it. Okay, now these are a little bit chunkier and thicker. I think I am going to be using these for my ladder stiles. The stiles are the ones on the side, and the rails, no, ladder rails. Rails are the ones on the side, and stiles are the ones that you tread on. You don't need to know that. It's not on the quiz. I could make a quiz if y'all want. That reminds me of a really off-color joke I'm not going to tell, but if y'all know the joke about quizzies, you know what I'm talking about. I don't even remember what movie that's from. Whatever. Anybody bored yet? Get it? Bored? Because I'm making... I'll stop. That's a lie. I won't stop. I'll keep making dumber and dumber jokes. Okay, these I said are going to be the ladders. So this is too thick, and this is... I don't know. I'm going to take that to about that point. That'll get used for something. Don't know what. Okay. You know what? I think I'm going to take my used to be sharp, really dull knife now. Actually, you know what I can do instead of that? I can sand that off. Oh, that is a noise, isn't it? That is definitely a noise. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to take a sharper knife, because I don't feel like sharpening that one right now. We're going to take that, cut that here and here to get rid of that broken, busted, weird point. Again, rubble pile, keep all that stuff. Can be used for other things later. Don't throw it into the landfill. I mean, you can. I'm not your mom, but... Now, some of this little stuff, I do not bother keeping all of that. Yes, I'm cutting toward my hand. Very delicately and gently and putting no pressure behind the blade. When I get closer to my fingers, I will flip it around. Don't cut toward your fingers. For anybody who knows, I cut myself, is that a month ago or is it 5 weeks ago? Anyway, took almost no time to heal up and stop bleeding. Trigger warning, content warning, sorry. I bled a month ago. Now you know. But took almost no time to actually start healing and has taken forever to get around to finishing that. I still have a weird little lump on my thumb. I can show you the lump. It's not gruesome or gory, I promise, but look away now if you want. I mean, you can't even see it, but you can see where it was right here. And it didn't even take the skin off. It just tried. So, yeah. I got complacent, wasn't paying attention, and the very tippy tip of my pointy craft knife caught me like that. And yeah, it wasn't pleasant. So there's a warning for you. The moment you get complacent with tools, they bite you. That's, my warning for the day. Okay, now let's get back to shaping some of these again. Yep, back to the brush. Okay. Oh, I need to cut those in thirds. Sorry. I'm apologizing to y'all like you care. Okay, so I'm going to take these and a couple little marks, couple little marks, couple little marks, and last but not least, a couple little marks. Now for something completely different. Oddly, I think that's my first Monty Python reference today. That's weird. I usually give a lot more than that. I know I said one last night because somebody said something jokingly about like some creature or monster or something. I said, run away, run away. So I know I quoted it last night. And I saw somebody quote, no one expects the Spanish Inquisition last night. So, yeah. Anybody here? This is on the trivia question for you if anybody cares. Anybody here know my favorite Monty Python line? I've got two. They are both about equally favorite in my eyes. I will accept either answer. Either way, I will tell you in a few minutes. So, that doesn't go there. It goes there. Okay. Now, every side that I've cut and it doesn't have the texture on it, back to it. Okay. I know that was a middle piece. Where's the side that doesn't have texture? Found it. We're good. It's got texture all the way around. Yep. And you can make these as textured or as little, as much or as little as you want. The more texture you get, the more cartoony it's going to feel. But if that doesn't bother you, that's fine. And if you paint it up like normal and aren't really doing anything like super bright colors or anything, you can actually even mitigate a bunch of that. I've just noticed recently that Weltenbauer Club, Sigurd, did one recently with some big chunky planks that don't look campy or silly at all. And who was the other one? The Plunder Den. The Plunder Den did some chunky lumber stuff lately as well. I watch a lot of YouTube, y'all. Like a lot of YouTube. Like I could be a case study. It should be great, except YouTube never listens to their customers, so. Now, remember what I said about grain? When I drag that across the grain, I suddenly pulled out all those chunks. Now, I may leave those chunks out of it, in it, just to make it like look a little more, and give it a little more character, that sort of thing. So. Oops, almost did it there. That's a matter of getting the bristles too steep and dragging rather than sliding along the piece. That was operator error on that last one. All right. Fast as fast can be, you'll never catch me. That's a good line. I know what that's from. That's America's Home. Is that America's Home Videos or Funniest? Anyway, Killer Rabbit line. Killer Rabbit is good. Now, run away, run away. That's a good one. But no. Yeah, I like Gremlins. I have my own Gremlins, so those movies are a little hit a little close to home. I don't mean like I have Mogwais that are cute and stuff and I shouldn't have got them wet. I mean just technology hates me kind of Gremlins. So my favorite two lines from Monty Python ever are, "Ooh, you lucky bastard," and "There's a penguin on the telly," and change the channel. No, there's a penguin on the telly. If you know where "Ooh, you lucky bastard" is from, you get a virtual cookie. Not like a digital cookie, just a virtual cookie. Oh, sorry. We're talking about Monty Python. You don't get a cookie. You get a biscuit. Alrighty. So, like I said, let me know if you know where the Lucky Bastard line is from in Monty Python. If you know that scene, you know that scene. Most people know the scene that's right before the person says that. But, yeah. A friend of mine, out of all of Monty Python, he's seen like all of the Flying Circus, he's seen like all of the live shows, he's seen a bunch of movies, all of that. And his favorite line for some reason is, nope, no singing. I'm like, that's your favorite line? He's like, it's just so ludicrous that the kid's about to sing and, you know, you must do this often enough that dad knows. I'm like, okay. It's funny for the moment in the movie, but I wouldn't call that one of my favorite Monty Python lines. Just strange to me. But we each have our own variation of geekery, and that is okay. Now, I get to tell a story about my friend that likes that line. So. Gaining popularity vicariously through his favorite Monty Python line. Dun, dun, dun. Anybody seen any memes lately that cracked y'all up? I saw one the other day that was just, it just caught me just right. There was this teal-colored guitar. Just a guitar with like a teal color with a white, whatever the panel is where your hand sits. So anyway, I don't know. I'm not a guitarist. But it was teal-colored. And then it was just sitting on a stand. So it's standing upright. And so somebody says, look, it's a solid body, and it's a solid body guitar. And then they put a little hat on the top part where, and they said it's Perry, the top, and the solid body guitar, and that cracked me up. The Perry the Platypus lines, anything Doofenshmirtz says from either of the shows he's in, either Phineas and Ferb or Milo Murphy's Law. Yeah. I like Doofenshmirtz. Alrighty. I am done with the texturing of planks for now. Let me get some of this dust off of here. First off, clean off the brush. Take all of that. I don't know if you can see that, but there's a big pile of teal junk. Let's brush that into the receptacle. Ooh. Glad nobody saw that. I put my hand about that close to that knife. Because I am dumb. That's not dumb. I'm not dumb. I'm inattentive. Alrighty. All of this, and I haven't been building my lighthouse, though I've been building my lighthouse because that is how crafting works. How the hell does my knife go back together? There we go. All right, so let's use these chunkier ones for the. Nope, I already got those other ones at the correct angle, so I'm gonna have to use those. Okay, so I need at least 8 of these, probably 12, and I have 7. That one's not long enough, so we'll use that as we get straighter Pythagorean theorem, blah, blah, blah. As we go further up, that one's probably not long enough either. So let's grab this kind of chunky one, and we will do the same thing with the cutting of that one. So I heard an interesting thing today on a crafting channel. They were, my brain has fallen on Miscast. On Miscast, Trent was saying that he prefers to put bases on his terrain. That way it blends in when you stick it on top of something else. It doesn't look like you just plunked crummy building on top of the thing. And I tend to agree with that. There are some things where I think it doesn't need a base, but I am pretty much team base myself, as he said it. Team bases, whatever he said. So I am going to take these and put them on a base. I do not have that base yet. There are 8. I said I could probably get away with 12, so there's 9. Let's see if I can get 3 more out of this chunkier board. It's only chunky on one end. Let's go with this board like I had in the first place. Actually, you know what? I'm going to use that one that has that thing because I think right where it's at is where I'm going to need to cut it. Yeah, that way I can just get rid of it. Woohoo! Nope, don't want to go that way. I want to go this way. And what I see, 9, so that should be 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yes, okay. Now, take this, we're going to cut that at a little bit more than I need. Again, put this into the rubble pile, keep that for later, use it for something else. That's 11. I need 1 more. You're not long enough. You're not long enough. There we go. Oops, wrong angle. Wrong angle, wrong angle. Okay. No bleeding allowed. Yeah, that one. Solidarity Gaming. The 2 nickels meme is the bane of the Minecraft existence. All his fans even got Doofenshmirtz to say the line directed at Jimmy. That's funny. Your mother was a hamster and your father smelt of elderberries. That's a good line. I like that. I like that whole scene. The whole, especially, I told him when he already got one. Yeah, wee, it's very nice. There are, again, I have graveside humor. Sorry about that. There are some very just stupid, intentionally, that's designed that way. Stupid things in Monty Python. And that just get me every time. In Life of Brian, the crack suicide squad, when they run up and then stab themselves, I'm just like, oh my gosh. I'm going to get demonetized. Oh, no, I'm not monetized anyway. But I did say the words YouTube doesn't like. But yeah, it's Monty Python. What are you going to do? And Gumby, the worker guy that's always in the sleeveless jumper and the shorts. He's got the little do-rag on his head. He has a line. I mean, he has a lot of lines. But he has one goes, I've heard of it. No, I've heard. What's he say? I've heard of an all-over body spray called halitosis, but I've never tried it. God, that gets me. That's so dumb. So dumb. It just makes me giggle. Okay, now I'm being more specific with these. Now that I know kind of where I'm going with this, I will take that and I think I need to build the planks, the platforms first. So I'm going to take these, stack them neatly over here so I have them in a minute because I know that's my 12 I need for the bottom. I'm going to build a platform. I want that platform to be 4 inches by 4 inches. I want the next one to be about 3 inches by 3 inches. And I want the top to be like 2 inches by 2 inches so that that can have a fire on top. And that's just going to be like an oil brazier where they literally put oil in it and light it. And that's how it works at night. Like I said, this is fantasy and medieval and all that. For all I know, there's a magic bubble around it that stops it from going out. I'm not building a 2-layer, multi-level, walk-around-it, glassine thing with the turning. I'm not doing that. This is not a modern. I don't want it to be a modern lighthouse. So one of my boards just fell on the ground. It's not good. Let's grab you before I step on you. Okay, so platform, 4 by 4 inches. 4 by 4 platform. Okay. I am going to draw a 4 by 4 square on this so I can build my platform on this because I don't want to get glue on this. So I need to take my straight edge again. I'm just going to randomly pick one of these lines that runs across it and grab my marker. Milwaukee are better than Sharpie. There, I said it. I am not sponsored, but if Milwaukee wants to send me a bunch of markers, you know where I'm at. If Sharpie wants to send me a bunch of markers, I can donate those to charity. Okay, what'd I say? 4 inches? Ooh, I can't even see those. I used to have the cutting board the other way around, but I'm super heavy-handed and I cut in, so it makes all these nicks and marks. I literally can't see the lines over here, so I got to move this over and redo it. To keep it straight, I'm lining this, to keep it square, I'm lining this edge up with a line. You can't see where I'm pointing, but I'm lining that edge up with a line and then just choosing one of the lines over here. And then coming 4 inches in from that one. And doing that. And I'll redo this when I get to the 3 inch and 3 inch ones, or I'll just do those by eyeball. Okay, now, and it doesn't matter where on this I do this, so I'm just gonna line this up about there. I do need these to be square though, so I'm actually going to use a square to keep things square. I know, crazy, but it is what it is. Okay, so now we will put that along that line and there. Then 4 inches along, I will make a mark and make a mark. And let's just go like this just to make sure we're staying square. As Dainsy says, tick square. That's from Danermade. Makes a lot of really cool wood stuff out of pallets. So that's 4 inches by 4 inches and as close as I can get it square. Okay, so now I'm going to take a bunch of things that are going to be planks. I need them all roughly the same thickness. They don't have to be exactly. I'm going to lay them out here, 4 inches wide. Straighten off some of these ends because that one's just nasty. And then gently, so I don't cut this up too much. Trim them to, actually I could do that on here. Yeah. I don't know Dainsy. I don't know him. He and I aren't buddies. We haven't spoken or anything, but he's got a good channel. And right now he's got a charity going on because a buddy of his has butt cancer. And, well, fuck cancer. That's what I'm saying. So, yeah, they got a charity thing going on over there if you want to give that a go. Plus, he makes really cool stuff and he's really funny to watch and blah, 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 blah. Like every Australian I know, I think his brain's been baked in the hot sun and he's a little nuts and he's a little out there and I like it. I think I'd like Australia except for all of the wildlife that always wants to kill everybody. But I've lived in Texas and Florida and Arizona. I'm used to angry wildlife. I think I could do all right in Australia. Plus, I'm a criminal. I mean, I'd probably get along with a bunch of them. That's a stereotype. I shouldn't say that. My whole family was sent here for the crime of being Irish. So, you know, I take that whole, they were criminals, said in an English accent with a whole big grain of salt. But that's politics from 400 years ago. So, water under the bridge, you know what I mean? Okay. I may need more planks than I thought. Whew. Glad I thought of this as a way to get rid of foam, because dang, I'm going to use it up, which is good. It's good. I have a bunch of stuff just laying around. Okay, so we are making good time on this platform, so that is good. Okay, those suddenly went all wonky. That's fine. I don't really care. I just got to make sure I have more than enough to go 4 inches. So actually, I do need those. Some of these need to go the other direction because they taper. Trying to keep them aligned. Okay, is that getting close to 4 inches? That is 3 and a bit inches. So we will take that and you in my way. You're gonna get cut, buddy. That's not a threat. I mean, you're literally in the danger zone. I'll cut you. I'll do it. I'm crazy. Okay. I think I'm going to leave a little bit of space between each of these planks. So I need to eyeball this from the top and see how much space I have on this other side. Well, if they'll stay where they need to stay. Okay, I will make one more and we will call that done. Let's use one of these little narrower ones. Okay. That is a platform. I mean, will be a platform. So now I am going to put a little bit of glue between each of these because I was carpenter for too long to not. Let's put it that way. So yeah, we're going to do that. And then I will put some cross pieces. I will put two that run straight across it and one that runs at a diagonal because that would be realistic. Probably never going to see that since that's going to be under the platform. But whatever. Now, I want to use hot glue because that's my handy dandy go-to. But these are super flimsy and I don't want to keep trying to push the things together against each other. So this, I'm going to use white glue or tacky glue. Let's go with tacky glue. And close your knife, dipstick. I am going to go get that because I don't have it at the table. I will come back, and before I begin all that, I will read the messages and see what's going on in the chat before I wander into that. All right. Hey, JJ, just subbed. Thank you so much for that. This is what I've been doing for weeks and weeks and weeks, is these Sunday night chill sessions. So you seem to like it, so thank you for subbing. And I do have actual video content from about 2 years ago and back. I will be doing more, I call them static videos because they're not live like this, soon-ish. I'm also writing a role-playing game, so sometimes I get a little distracted. But this is where I'm at on Sunday, so thank you so much. Welcome, welcome, welcome. If this for JJ and anybody else, if this is your first time watching, thank you so much. I am glad that I could keep you entertained at least for a little bit. If you are back for like the 10th or 100th time, super duper thanks, because you are now one of my long-term campaigners, and I cannot thank y'all enough. I like to think I'm enjoyable to watch for the hour or so that I spend here on of a Sunday evening, and yeah, having a good time. Let's see what else we got. And that's about where we're at. That's the newest thing, is that welcome JJ. So everybody welcome JJ. Do you have a channel as well, JJ? I'll check that out later and see if I can find you. But if you do, I know you can't post a link here, but you can always come to my Discord and tell people. I've got a place for you to hype for. I don't only hype me. I've got places where you can hype yourself as well if you have a channel or Instagram or anything like that. So if you want to do that, swing on by. More the merrier. See, this is one of those weird things. I textured all of these even on the sides of the planks, and now I'm gluing them together and you'll never see this texture again. But I didn't know that's exactly where these would end up when I did it. So you just never know. Now, these are already starting to try to curl because the foam is weird. So once these are done, it's already after 8. I'm going to finish gluing these planks together. I'm going to sit something on it that I hope it won't stick to. I will put it on my plastic clipboard, or plastic cutting board, because that it won't stick to that. And then I'll put something on it that I hope it won't stick to either. And we'll keep that pressed flat. And so next week I can get to the building the next layer. I may do some, no, not may. I will be doing some of that during the week. If I go live for that, it will not be here on YouTube. That would be just on the Discord. And I do that rather often, actually. I'll come down here just to craft, and I'll just turn on the Discord live and hang out. Almost nobody ever comes by, but that's all right. I get a lot accomplished when I'm doing it. It all works out. Okay, so I will finish gluing these planks together to get this one platform done, and then I'm going to call it a night. I was going to say something before. before I said all of that, but I don't remember what I was saying. So I guess it clearly wasn't important. All right, so. Okay. That looks like one of those coconut bars. You know the ones I'm talking about? That made out of the coconut shavings where they stick them together with, I don't know, plaster and too much sugar. I don't know what they're made of. Used to love them as a kid. Now I eat them and it's like, oh, there's the hypoglycemia. Funny enough, I love sweets, but I'm actually more of a salt guy, but not like salty snacks. Like I put too much salt on my food and stuff. And what's really funny is they say that if you're experiencing like hand cramps or anything like that after you've been like doing something for a long time, then you may be low on salts. Even regular salt can help, but so can electrolytes and stuff like that. And every time I come down here and cramp for more than, it has already started at one point a little bit, but every time I come down here and craft for more than say an hour and a half, 2 hours, anywhere in there, where I start to I'll start to cramp no matter what I'm doing. It literally doesn't matter what I'm doing with my hands. They'll still cramp up, and it's just weird. I don't know why. I have a tendency to sit down when I craft, even though this desk is designed to fit both sitting and standing. It's like right in between height. And I do have no problem and often craft standing up. And my hands don't cramp when I'm standing, so I have no idea what that's about. I would have to ask people who are far more medically knowledgeable than myself. Yeah, salt is my thing, and yet I still cramp. Maybe that's why I like salt so much. Maybe I have a deficiency. I've heard that there is a condition where you literally can't get enough salt, and I may have that because I always am willing to add salt, too much salt to my food and stuff. So, I don't know. There you go. But I live in America, so I can't afford healthcare to go find out. So, you know what it is. Oh, come on. This thing doesn't, it's got a tiny little clog in the tip and doesn't want to squirt out. You know what I'm going to do? I think it's not going to affect anything, even if part of this, it's actually got a layer of paint over this cardboard. I think even if this cardboard tries to come up with it, it will be fine. It's not going to hurt anything because I can always hide that. Just use the other side as the bottom. Plus, it's all going to get painted and everything anyway, so it's supposed to look weathered and torn anyway. So what I'm going to do is just leave it on this board. Now my table does not actually sit flat, so I need to sit on this board but move it where y'all can't really see it, but there's a more rigid part right here. Set that there. Set my cutting board on top of that. Then I'm going to grab a couple things that are heavy, in this case water bottles, and set those there, and let that sit. Let that harden. That is it for the night. I think that this build will probably only be one more week because I presume I will get down here to work on it during the week, and you can see what I'm doing live from that point this time next week. But of course, I'll post a few stills on the Discord during the week, or I may stretch this out over time and just get more videos out of it, more live streams out of it, as long as I'm not boring y'all. I like sitting here and chatting with y'all, so that's fine with me. So something I was going to say. Planks, boards, gluing, sticking to the thing. Oh, if it does stick to the thing, I can get it off just by taking a razor and sliding it underneath it and cutting it free, and then I can pick off any things I need to. Yeah, I guess that's going to be it. Say goodnight to my little guy. That's the one. He's got the one with the little busted horn. I have no idea how his little horn busted off. Anyway, he's been the mascot since day one. So, there's 6 of these guys that I painted up roughly alike. One's named Argus. One's named Regis. I don't know what the other 3 are, but they're all labeled on the bottom. And this guy has never had a name. So I just call him little guy or commander. So that's Commander. All right, please share, like, and subscribe. Thanks again to JJ. And if you can, after I'm done here, please reset the page, leave a comment. That really drives the algorithm, and I love to talk to y'all. You can ask me questions, you can insult me, whatever, and I'll be fine with it. So, yeah, that's about it. Let me switch this light off so you're not blind. And then I will switch back to the front camera and scoot that out of the way. It's actually going to be directly in my way, but it'll be out of the way of the mouse. All right, so, yeah. I don't have anything else to babble about. And usually I have something right at the end, but I don't actually this time. So, again, big shout out to my 5 patrons. Awesome for them. You could be one. Sign up there. If you really want to support what I'm doing, like, share, subscribe, and comment. That's really going to help me get out there, because I really only want to inspire people to do things, or just entertain people that they can sit and chill with for a while. I'm not trying to be a millionaire off this channel or anything like that. But if you do want to monetarily support me, I do have a Patreon, buy me a coffee, and a Venmo. And I think I may have a coffee. But if not, I've definitely got a mine. Anyway, doesn't matter. It's not really the big deal. So, yeah, if you like minis, doll houses, war games, tabletop games, any of that, we are all in this together. Know that I love you. And until next time, I wish you luck in your campaign. And I do thank you for coming. Good night.